Hey there, fellow comic fans. As always, this is Scott Harris King. Today, I'm super excited because we're celebrating the launch of my new romance comic, Geek Love #1. As you can see, I'm coming to you live from the Couch of Solitude. And earlier today, we launched Geek 1, my new romance comic, on Kickstarter. And so I'm really excited for this. It's something I've been working on for several years. Those of you who have watched my YouTube videos in the past know that I'm a huge fan of romance comics. Romance comics have been the focus of my collection for a number of years now. So this is something I've wanted to do for a long time. I grew up as a kid. I'd watch a lot of soap operas with my grandmother after school. When she would watch us after school, and we'd watch like General Hospital and all that stuff. So the sort of soap opera genre has always been a favorite of mine. So combining that love with comics is something that I just really love. And so, of course, as someone who makes comics, I had to take that passion for romance comics and put it into what I was creating. Geek Love is also particularly special to me because it's basically bringing to life something special. For the last, ever since I met my wife, I've been making Valentine's Day cards for her that are romance comic covers, and it's called Geek Love. I've been drawing those for many years now. She actually drew last year one for me, and so it's a very special thing to sort of bring that into reality after so many years. So over the course of this next hour, I'm going to show you the campaign, the Kickstarter campaign for Geek Love #1. I'll show you all the cool variant covers, which I drew all of them. I'll show you, tell you about the different stories, answer any questions that you have. I'll also be showing some of the original, the Geek Love Valentine's Day cards that I drawn for my wife over the years. And if there's time permitting, I may show you some of my other comics as well, because I've got some cool stuff that's come in. We're in the process of fulfilling the previous campaign for quest #3, and I've just received a couple of the variant covers from the printers in the last couple of days, so I can show you that. But we'll see if time's permitting. I was running a little bit late here, so it's going to take me a second to kind of call up the Kickstarter page. So first of all, while I'm doing that, let me just thank everyone for watching, whether you're watching this live or you're watching it on a replay later. I appreciate it very much, and I appreciate everyone who's chosen to back the campaign so far as well. And hold on, I lost my camera here. Okay, we're back. All right, now let me call up the sharing the screen. And let me just adjust how we're looking at it. Put myself down in the corner so you can see it a little bit more. So here we are. So again, the campaign launched earlier today. And so we've only been live now for about 11 hours. We see, as you can see, our goal is 1,500. We're at 530. So we're just over a third of the way there. So it's a great first day. Again, thank you all so much for your support. We'll be running the campaign through the end of the month. Let me just look at the calendar. When is that going to be? Yeah, so Friday the 26th is going to be the last day of the campaign. There's going to be another live stream the evening of Friday, July 26th to celebrate the end of the campaign. So hopefully you'll join me for that as well. But let's just go over the campaign so I can show you the covers. I can and the previews of the stories and talk to you a little bit about this. So, it starts off, and I've got just a little text here at the beginning. If you've ever nerded out over a comic book or a movie, or obsessed over a book or video game character, you know that no matter what your fandom of choice, there's no love as deep as Geek Love. So I've tried to do with this romance comic. I wanted to feel like you're reading one of the classic romance comics that I love from the 50s or 60s or 70s. So in terms of the stories, it's an anthology, single issue, 28 pages, but there's 4 stories. And I'll show you a little preview of each of them momentarily. But it's basically, there's an 11-page story about a wizard who falls in love with a beatnik in 1958, and their relationship, of course, has a lot of melodrama when the secret is revealed that one of them is actually a wizard. And then we've got a 6-page story about the ineffable, timeless romance of the funicular, the most romantic form of transportation ever devised. Which I'll talk at strange length about later. And then we've got an 8-page story, which is the cover story here, which is about cosplayers. It's about a shy high school girl who finds both self-confidence and true love when she begins cosplaying as her favorite superhero, War Nurse. So we'll be talking a little bit about that when I show you those preview pages. And then finally, there's just at the end, there's a short 2-page story about gamers, people who play tabletop like D&D, falling in love. And for those of you who are gamers, I think you'll appreciate that, which I don't want to spoil it until I show you the picture of it. But each of those also has a variant cover that goes with the story. So let me scroll down here. Usually I'll have 1 or 2 guest artists do some of the variant covers for me, but this time around I drew them all myself. I do love, again, the romance comics, so I was very hands-on with the creation of this one in particular. I mean, I do all the writing and publishing and distribution and hire all the artists and write the scripts and everything. So I'm very hands-on already, but in this case, I just really had certain vision in mind for all the covers, so I decided to do it myself. So this is the first of the variant covers. This is a variant cover. It's going to be limited to 100 copies. And as you can see, I've got, for this variant cover, the logo says My Romantic Adventures, number 139. For those who don't know, My Romantic Adventures was a romance series that started in the late 40s, I think 49, and ran through 1964 from ACG, one of my favorite comic companies. This is one of my favorite romance comic titles, and the last issue is 138. So those of you who've bought comics from me or back to my previous Kickstarters know that this is something I do with a lot of the comics I put out, is I sort of pay homage to the classic comics of past by reviving the titles and the numbering. So my series Crime Busters, every issue we have a Boy Comics variant with the Boy Comics logo and numbering, continuing that from the 50s. And then when we do Cthulhu versus Uncle Sam, there's another ACG title that's more of a sci-fi horror title called Adventures into the Unknown. And we did the same variant covers with that, with the Adventures in the Unknown, continuing the numbering and the logo with that. So I wanted to keep up that tradition here and pay tribute to one of my favorite series with this cover. This is a story about the wizard and the beatnik. And I should say the colors on this were done by colorist Adriel Dallavecchia, who's worked with me on Quest quite a bit. He's also doing the colors on the cover for Crime Busters 7, which will be out later this year. I'm colorblind, so there's certain, although I did the colors for the other on the other covers, and I think they look fine. But for this one, in particular, I wanted something a little more nuanced than I'm really able to do because of my grasp of colors. So I was happy that he was able to do this with me. And I think it came out really well. I'm really happy with this. Again, this is limited to 100 copies. Then the D&D story, this is another favorite of mine. look into her eyes and read the answer to her question, can any dice be trusted? And romance fans will, of course, immediately recognize this as an homage to J. Scott Pike's classic cover for Young Romance, number 150. But I thought it would be fun and funny to have it. So in the original, of course, the woman's crying because she's seeing her boyfriend is kissing another woman. But here it's because she just rolled a 1, and she knows that that means that she's in big trouble with her character in the game they're playing. So I thought it would be a fun twist on that classic. And so far, people seem to be really liking this one, so which I'm happy for. This one's I think limited this one to just 50 copies printed, so it's a little bit more expensive than the other ones because it's only printing 50 of them. And then finally, here is the cover for the funicular story, and again, it's called Love 2024, and it's a tribute to Charlie Armentano's classic cover for DC Supergiant number 21, which is better known as Love 1971. So I basically used the logo and the concept for that from that series and did a psychedelic cover. It's not like a direct homage, like the Young Romance 150 is a direct homage. Like I'm copying the facial expression, everything. This is actually more the vibe. So I'm also sort of paying tribute to some other psychedelic covers that I love from the period. The sort of styling on the funicular, the coloring, and everything. Like I took a lot of inspiration from Michael. Oh boy. Juarez, I think his name was. I just had a bit of a brain fart there. His cover for Mod Love number 1, which is from 1967, which is a great psychedelic cover. And he on that one, on the back cover, there's this cool bus that's all like red and yellow like this. So I took a lot of inspiration there. And down in the bottom right corner with the lettering for Funiculove and all of the wavy lines and everything, that's sort of the inspiration for that is the Palisades Park psychedelic cover from Falling in Love number 99 by Rick Strada. So again, paying a lot of tribute to my favorite sort of covers. I'm a big Bronze Age romance guy, so like late silver and early bronze. So anyway, trying not to get too into the weeds on the classic romance comics because I can talk about those forever, but that was sort of my inspiration for this here. Now this one's limited to just 25 copies. So it's the most expensive of them because I'm only printing a few of them, but I was really happy with how it came out. Also want to mention for those watching, while I'm looking at the preview pages, I can't actually see your comments. So please feel free to comment or ask any questions you have or anything like that. It's just, I won't be able to actually see the comments until I've toggle back to the main screen. So if there's a delay between you asking the question, it might be a few minutes before I see it. That's why there's a bit of a delay. So here's some of the preview pages. We got the Wizard story. Now the artist here is Lisa Wynn. Lisa previously did the variant cover for me, the Trixie's Mysteries variant for Crime Busters number 6. And I think her art style really suits the romance comic here. Really happy with it. This is an 11-page story. For those of you who have read Crime Busters in the past, the main character here on the right, one of the two characters here, but is Stu from the Crime Busters, who we saw his meeting with Mike, his boyfriend here. We saw them meet at the end of Crime Busters 4. I just didn't have room in Crime Busters to tell their story because Stu's, he's a supporting character in Crime Busters. So I had the story that I wanted to tell, but I just didn't have the room for it there. So I decided to tell their story here in Geek Love. So hopefully, if fans of Crime Busters will want to read this. But we see this story here where basically they meet and they're very different people. So like we see, Stu working on his tractor, and Mike doesn't really get it, whereas Mike's doing his avant-garde poetry, and Stu's completely lost. But still, like they celebrate their differences and they're madly in love, except for Stu starts pulling away, and eventually he reveals he's got a secret that he's been keeping. He's actually a wizard. So dun dun dun. And then we have a lot of melodrama. And I try not to have it like, I don't want these stories to read like parody, because I actually love romance comics. So no, it's sort of like, sometimes when people these days talk about the old romance comics, there's sort of like a too cool for school, sort of like, like ironic sort of, look at them. But I like them. I like the melodrama. I find them endearing. So I wanted it to be earnest, but there is a little bit of sort of like, those romance comics were very over the top with the melodrama, just like soap operas. So I want to have that feel with the story. And then we have this page. The artist here is named Cherishelle, and she is an artist that works out of Italy, and her art's great. Really love it. And this one, there's no words. There's just a few thought balloons and things with sort of more graphic. I wanted this to kind of be a silent story. So we have this guy who wakes up and he's sort of depressed and sad and down, and he's just the drudgery of work. He goes to work, and to get to work he rides this funicular, and then as you can see, he's sort of in his funicular, and he's startled to see in the funicular going the other direction this cute girl. And so this is a 6-page story. I'm a huge fan of funiculars. I love funiculars. I guess it's idiosyncratic. Maybe most people don't really understand it, but I love funiculars. Anytime we go anywhere, or I travel anywhere where there's a funicular, it's it's at the top of the list of things we have to do. And so I've been on funiculars in a bunch of different places. Of course, not nearly as many as I would like, because I would like to hit all those funiculars. But, I've been on the Dufresne Incline in Pittsburgh. I've been to ridden the funicular in Quebec City that brings you from the old city up to the top of the cliff. I've been on the funicular in Prague. And so I've been in a number of funiculars all over the world. I love them. And I've got a bunch of pictures of me and my wife riding funiculars, and I just find them very romantic. I don't know. So when I was doing this story, again, a lot of these stories are very sort of drawn from personal stuff, with sort of, my relationship with my wife. And one of them is my love of funiculars and how romantic I find them to be. So there's actually, as I scroll down the page, we'll see a picture of us in a funicular. Yes. Here's my wife. Hello. Watching, and she says, this is the order of things when we go traveling. Number 1, comic book stores. Number 2, funiculars. Yes, that's about right. If we can get a funicular that takes us to a comic store, it's perfect. It's perfect. And actually in Quebec, it's not, the funicular doesn't take you quite to the comic store, but you can use it to get to one of them. So it's tremendous. So then the third story is another thing where, my wife and I do cosplay. And so this is another story that's sort of inspired by sort of our experiences. And my experience sort of dressing up as, different superheroes. at conventions and things like that, and just sort of getting an understanding of the community and whatever. And also, as I was working on it, of course, I realized, I can't really use Wonder Woman or Spider-Man or whatever, like those characters for legal reasons. I mean, I could try, but more fun to me was using that as an opportunity to use a bunch of Golden Age public domain superheroes, which I love to use. Obviously things like Crime Busters is a lot of public domain Golden Age characters. Cthulhu versus Uncle Sam, one of the other series I do, has a bunch of public domain Golden Age superheroes in it. And so I decided to do the same with the cosplay. So this is all about a girl who loves the character of War Nurse, who's in her world is sort of the big female superhero. Instead of Wonder Woman, it's War Nurse is the most popular. And so she's, reading comics about War Nurse and wishing that she was as cool as War Nurse, but she's too shy to, talk to her crush at school. And so her best friend is like, you know what? I think I know what you need. You need to try cosplay. And so here we have her. She goes over to her house and her friend's like, haha, welcome to the lair of Linda Turner, the Black Cat. And of course, Linda Turner, is the Golden Age Black Cat from the 40s and 50s. Now my artist is Mac Radwanski. He does the Crime Busters. I sent him a bunch of reference pictures of what the Black Cat's costume and War Nurse's costume looked like in the Golden Age. And, said, I didn't want it to be exactly like that because those are adult women. So I wanted them redesigned a little for our high school characters, so they weren't quite as, overtly sexy or whatever. And so he did a significant redesign. So the Black Cat costume he came up with here for her, has a lot of elements of sort of Nightwing, actually, to me. I think it looks cool. I don't think, not sure that traditionalists from the Golden Age would necessarily recognize it as being Black Cat, but I think it's cool. And of course, just to scroll back up real quick, when I put them on the cover, I used the classic Golden Age. So War Nurse here is wearing her classic costume. Although of course the original War Nurse had black hair. And then, on the stage, we have the Black Cat in the original Black Cat costume. But this is a story that I've had in my head for a number of years, so I'm really excited to tell this story. And I really like what Mac did with the art. I think it looks really good. So that's a little preview of that story. My wife says yes. Number 3 is pancake houses. I do love a good pancake house. I have a small collection of mugs from different pancake houses that we've traveled to. And then at the end of the comic, there's going to be a little story about gamers in love, and it's called Dark Dungeons of Forbidden Love. Now, if you're a hardcore gamer of a certain age, you may recognize this. I hope someone recognizes it because it's basically sort of a parody of the Dark Dungeons Chick Tract, where Jack Chick was a sort of extreme right-wing evangelical nut job, and he did these little mini comics called Chick Tracts that they would hand out, and the most famous of them is called Dark Dungeons, which was one of these, like what they call the satanic panic of the 1980s, where people were convinced that that playing Dungeons and Dragons was indoctrinating children into witchcraft, which is just one of the dumbest things I've ever heard. So I decided to take that infamous chick tract and turn it into a romance story. What happens in the original, trigger warning, but in the actual story, this character here is she's playing a character called Blackleaf, and her character dies in the game, and she then becomes ostracized because she no longer exists because her character is dead, and she hangs herself. So what? And then the other person gets, the dungeon master takes the other player and brings her into a witch coven and teaches her witchcraft. What's going to happen in our version here is that the player and the dungeon master are going to fall in love and make out. So it's a short one, but I think it'll be really fun for the D&D crowd, and hopefully the fact that it's two women falling in love while playing Dungeons and Dragons will cause Jack Chick to just spin in his grave. So anyway, that's sort of it's something that I thought it's very inside and nerdy, but it's inside and nerdy for the people that I think will be reading this comic, and I think will really appreciate it. So I enjoy making it quite a bit. This is one of the 4 stories that I'm drawing myself, and I tried to make the art kind of look like the style of the original, including the really terrible lettering on it. So we can blame Jack Chick for the terrible lettering on that. So that's a little preview of the comic. Just to go over the rewards for this are very simple. Some of my campaigns, they get kind of complicated because I have so many variants and back issues and stuff. But in this case, you can get any of those 4 covers. You can also add them on. So if you just want like 2 or 3 of them, you can do that. But if you want the set of all of them, you can get a special discounted set. Now you'll notice on this graphic that there's 5 covers. This year marks the 5th anniversary of me making comics. I call my quote unquote publishing empire Crimebuster Comics. So this is the 5th anniversary of Crimebuster Comics. And so every comic I'm putting out this year, I'm doing a 5th anniversary cover. That's basically a portrait of one of the main characters in the comic. And it's got a frame cover. It's designed to look like the classic Marvel Comics 25th anniversary covers from 1986. And so that's available as an add-on. And it's got Stu, the wizard. It's got a portrait of him. And it's available as an add-on for $15. But if you get the set of all 5 covers, you're basically not only getting that cover completely for free, but you're also getting a discount on the set of the other 4. So it's by far the best deal of them. And the other sort of bundle you can get is what I call the Fall in Love with Comics bundle. That's for people that are maybe new to my comics, to Crimebuster Comics. It comes with one of the regular edition of everything I've done so far. So it's Geek Love #1, Quest, which is my fantasy comic, 1, 2, and 3, Cthulhu versus Uncle Sam, 1 and 2, that's set in World War II, and it's about superheroes trying to, when the Axis powers try and summon Cthulhu to win the war, Uncle Sam and his superhero friends have to defeat them. And then the Crimebusters, which is it's set in the 1950s, and it's my ode to teen detectives like Nancy Drew and Scooby-Doo and that sort of thing. And so you'll get volume 1, which collects issues 1 through 5. So it's 212 pages. And then issue 6. And that's 36 pages because it's extra long. Plus, you'll also get one of the last copies that I have of the Crimebuster 80th Anniversary Special, which is a 100-page giant reprinting some of Crimebuster's Golden Age stories, plus the Crimebusters #1. And so if you read that, you'll basically get all of the back issues from the 40s and 50s that I reference in Crimebusters 1 as inspirations for that. So And that's just $89. Again, it's a big discount from getting them all individually. So, you know, again, I've been doing this for 5 years. It's really exciting for me to see how much stuff we've been able to do, or I've been able to create in the last 5 years. I think I've put out some really cool comics. And I'm hoping some people will choose this and get to see all the cool stuff that we've been doing. Now for add-ons, there's a few things available. There's the sketch cards. Those are the size of trading cards, so they're 2x3, but they're blank, and so I will draw with markers any character you want. Single character, any character. Doesn't have to be a character from Geek Love. It doesn't have to be a character from one of my comics. It can be from anything. So I've had a number of characters that I've drawn from my own comics. Usually that's what people ask for, but I've had characters from Marvel and Charlton and whatever. So it's just $5. You can add on as many of them as you want. I've done as many as 6 for a single person at once, I think. If you want a little hand drawn, all done by hand. So that's $5. And then here's the anniversary variant. I will mention that it says here, note, art not final. So I'm working on the cover. I think it looks okay, but it's not quite where I want it to be. So I'm going to keep working on that. I'm also talking with a surprise artist. I can't really get into it, but I'm hoping to actually bring someone on board to redo this whole cover, someone that whose art I really like, and it would be really cool to have here, but that hasn't been finalized, so we're still discussing it. So the final cover may not look anything like this, but it will have Stu on it. The frame will look the same, but the face might be drawn by somebody else. And if it ends up being my version, it'll be mostly like this, but I'm going to refine it a little, make it a little bit better. So not final art, but the basic idea. And here's a little bit about me and my story, why I want to do this. I talked a little bit about this already. Here is a picture of my wonderful wife and I in a funicular in Quebec, which is a wonderful city to visit, particularly during Christmas, which is when we were there. And then a little bit about the different artists. Again, Lisa Wynn did the cover of the art, I should say, for I Put a Spell on You, which is the story about the wizard in love. Mac Radwanski, who does the Crime Busters, was the artist for the cosplay story. Cherishell did the funicular of Adriel Della Vecchia. The colors for the Romantic Adventures variant cover, and Shane Quee, they did the flats for the interiors. So the flat colors, I'm doing the finishing, which is sort of like finishing the lighting effects. Although my style is fairly flat anyway, but I'm adding some lighting effects and shadows and stuff like that. So I'll do the finishes on those. So that's the team we have for this issue. There's another little peek. This is Cherishell's art for the funicular story. This is the black and white, but it'll be color throughout the comic. But I wanted to share the black and white because I thought it looked really cool too. So that's about it. Let me just refresh this here. And we have gotten a couple backers since we started the live stream. So we're up to 28 backers, $586. So thank you again so much, everybody, for your support. I really appreciate it. Again, our goal is 1,500. It's a lower goal than I usually have, but I was able to make it a little bit cheaper. So, as usual, if we hit that goal, I'll be really excited to be able to bring it into reality. I'll also lose quite a bit of money. So, hopefully we'll do well past that goal, but that's sort of the minimum amount I need to make it, where I'm comfortable with how much I'm going to lose. But this is really not to get too punny, but this is really a passion project for me. I just love doing the romance comics. I love romance comics. So, I'm willing to take it a little on the chin just to bring this into existence because it is such a personal thing for me. And I just really want to get these stories told and get them out there and share with everybody, and have it in my own collection because I just really love it. Um, so yeah, that's the campaign. There should be a link, uh, in the down below in the about the YouTube video section where you're watching, with a link to the campaign. If you haven't had a chance to look at it yourself, you can read those preview pages in a little more detail yourself. But that's the campaign. Now I'm gonna pause for a moment here, bring my giant head back up here. Actually, I should go back to the campaign page because I'm going to just pause for a second. I'm going to get a little bit of drink, talk amongst yourself. Anyone have any questions for me about anything I've talked about? Any questions about Geek Love? Any questions about any of my other comics or anything in general? Please feel free to ask. I'm just going to get a real quick drink here while you formulate your questions. I will say, like I said several times, I just love romance comics, and so I love making this. I love doing this. I don't know whether I'll be doing any more. That's going to depend on how well this does. Again, like if we fund to the point where I break even on it, then I would love to do more in the future. It is a little bit hard to fit it in the publishing schedule because I have so many other comics that I'm working on as well. But we'll see. We'll see if people like it as much as I do. Because I would love to do more. I have some more stories in mind already that we could do for a second issue. But so we've got 23 minutes left. I can't actually see who's watching. I can see that there are people watching, but I don't know who they are. So I'll just say, like, I do have a couple things I'm going to show you here at the end of the about a couple other campaigns, and also just some cool stuff I've been getting in regarding quest number 3, the fulfillment for quest, stuff like that. But let me bring myself back up big here. I promised to show this earlier, so I'm just going to show a couple of the Geek Love Valentine's Day cards that sort of inspired this. This is the first one that I did here. You can see it's pencil that I did. Now this one you probably can't see, it's probably too small, but it's got number 158 on it because this is actually an homage to one of my favorite romance covers from the Bronze Age, which is Girls Romances 158. But it's also got my wife and I, of course, we'd actually just started dating at the 2016 Aresia convention, which was our third date, and we cosplayed at that show. My cosplay was just a sweatshirt. It wasn't a great cosplay. Hers was much better. But again, this sort of was part of the inspiration for doing the cosplay story. You'll see the cosplay stuff actually on several of these covers because all of these are also about our okay, it's blurry. Okay, I can't actually see. Is it less blurry here if I have it back here? I'm not sure my camera is good enough to actually show it without it being blurry just in general. How about that? I'll post, I'm going to do an update on the campaign where I have a photo of these. So if you're not getting a good look at them here, whether it's the camera or the lighting, yeah, as long as you can see the gist, I'll have a photo of it. Here's one. This is from 2017. Now, a lot of these covers have me crying on them. That's because I was working off of these classic DC romance covers where the girl, the woman's always crying on the cover of all of those. It's a role reversal on these. It's always me crying, but here I am in my Wonder Woman costume that I need to repair, but that I've worn a number of times. And my wife had a wonderful costume that was Pam from Archer that year with the dolphin puppet and everything else. So there's several of these, and they're all wonderful, and they all reference different classic romance covers. So I'll show the one my wife did for me, which is from the Young Love 150, but it's me crying on it. Is really, you can see the resemblance too. It's eerie. So anyway, that's just a little sneak peek at some of our my wife says, I realize now it was odd to give you a card where you're crying. No, it's not odd at all because I'm crying on all of these. Because it's the convention of the genre. I love it. I love it. It was perfect for me because I love that cover from J. Scott Pike, and I love these romance comics. So, anyway, just a little look at some of the inspiration from these covers. So we've got 17 minutes left. I just want to ask again, anybody have any questions about Geek Love or anything else? Any comments? I want to make sure that I'm not just talking at you, but rather talking with you. So if anybody has anything you want to discuss, any questions you have about the campaign or anything, it's right over here. And happy to talk about anything. I know we got some people that are coming in to watch the live stream who may have missed stuff earlier. So that's fine. I don't mind repeating anything. So if you have any questions, please feel free to ask. For those of you watching who have backed my previous campaigns, if you backed quest number 3, I just sent out an update today to let you know that I received word from the printer that the books have been printed and they have shipped. So I'm expecting to receive quest number 3 at the end of this week. But I actually was using 3 different printers this time. So this is the main printer that has the main part of the order. So like 90% of the comics are coming from this printer. But the other printers that I've been using, one of them is also en route and has not yet arrived. This also supposed to arrive this week. But the third printer actually got the comics already. So I did want to show, for those of you who are waiting for your quest, I did get the 5th anniversary variant for quest number 3, which has this great cover of the Ranger Hugin, drawn by Samir Samau, who's doing a lot of these portrait covers for me. And it looks so cool. Also, if you're wondering what the Geek Love 5th anniversary cover is going to look like, it's basically going to look like this. It'll have the Geek Love logo, and it'll have a picture of Stu instead of Hugin, but it's got basically the same frame. And again, for those of you who remember or collect those 1986 covers for Marvel's 25th anniversary, it looks really cool. I have a big soft spot for those because it was just a couple years after I started collecting comics, and I was, as a kid when those were coming out. So it was a big part of my formative collecting was these frame covers. But I think it looks really cool. The art from Samir was really great. So really excited to get that. I have another one to show you in a second, but speaking of the art from Samir, I haven't shared this with anybody yet, so I'm doing it right now. You're seeing it for the first time, is that Samir, unlike most artists these days, actually works traditionally, which means he's doing everything pen and ink on paper, and he's sent me all the originals. So here's the original art for that cover that I just showed you. Now, you may notice it's not the size of American original art. The classic original art size here in the US is 11 by 17. This is it's bigger than comic size, but it's more like 8.5 by 11. But you can see the original art. And so the original art for all the covers that Samir has done, most of which haven't come out yet, this is going to be available as unique rewards in the next Quests campaign, and later on, and Crime Busters, because they have some for that as well, some of the other campaigns. So you'll be able to get, it's again one of a kind original art used for the cover, and he's doing several of these, including some that here's the cover, the portrait of Chuck Chandler from Crime Busters number 6, which has already come out, and then some really cool ones which won't be out until next year, but at some point we're going to do the Cthulhu versus Uncle Sam anniversary covers as well. So here's like a really great Uncle Sam looking really cool, and I've got all of them here. I've got like 8 of them. So I think it's really cool, and hopefully people will be excited to get some original art for the first time offered for any of my comics, and get some of those. Far Out Junk says sweet portraits. Yeah, he did a really great job, particularly on the action characters. There's a portrait of Granny Gumshoe here that I haven't shared with anyone yet. I'm keeping that secret until I'm ready to reveal it, because it looks so cool. That one, I've got to say, I'm not 100% sure I'm going to sell. I might keep it for myself. But like, I'm eventually going to do the Cthulhu versus Uncle Sam. I'm going to reprint issue 1 and 2, but with anniversary covers. So we've got the Cthulhu portrait here as well as the Uncle Sam. And I'm not sure. We were having some trouble with the camera focusing, so I don't know if this is blurry or not. But the detailing that he put on these is really excellent. So I think people are going to really dig those covers. And again, just having the original art for these is really, really cool. The other thing I want to show that I got in is the Virgin Artist Edition Virgin variant for quest number 3, which is an homage to Todd McFarlane's classic cover for Hulk 340. featuring the Paladin Vests and fighting the horde, the undead horde that she does in issue 3. And so I got that. Looks really cool. Actually think it looks better like printed than it did just as like a JPEG on the internet. For whatever reason, it just reads better actually as a physical object than it does online. Now the still waiting for the metal versions. That's one of the 2 printers that I'm waiting for, but it's been shipped. So I was hoping to have it to show tonight, but I do have metal variants of this that where there's only 25 being printed, and can't wait to see them because I think like particularly with the blues and the whites, it's going to look really vibrant with the metal reflection. So we're really close to getting the fulfillment for quest number 3 done. And so I'm hoping, we'll see, assuming there's nothing wrong with the shipments when they arrive, and they arrive when I'm expecting, which is this week, I'm hoping to have quest number 3 completely fulfilled before Geek Love number 1 campaign ends for Geek Love number 1. So we want to keep things rolling along so that we can tell more stories. That's the whole point, is to tell more stories. And so we want to be able to get quest number 4 out and get Crime Busters number 7 out as well. So just take another look at the campaign for Geek Love. Again, if anyone has any questions, I'm just going to refresh it here. Sometimes it doesn't refresh itself. So we're currently, again, at 586. Again, a great first day, 28 backers. Thank you all so much for your support. I really appreciate it very much. Really means a lot to me, and I think you're going to enjoy the comic. Again, not to sound too punny, but it is a real passion project. It's a labor of true love. But I did want to real quickly show you a couple other things coming up since we have a couple minutes left. It's going to take me a second to get it called up. All right, so first of all, it's always something here. First of all, we have this. Yes, it's quest number 4. The pre-launch page for quest number 4 is now live. So again, we're hoping to get quest 3 fulfilled before the end of the Geek Love campaign. And then the focus will be on Geek Love. Once Geek Love is sent to the printer, then at that point we'll be ready to launch quest number 4. And so the pre-launch page is live now for quest number 4. So if you have been reading quests, you can now sign up to make sure you don't miss that. If you haven't yet read quests, as you can see, it says quest numbers 1 through 4. You can catch up with the whole series, all 4 issues all at once. I always give like a reward tier where it's easy to get the whole set at a discount, so you can catch up on the whole story. So I'm really excited for that. And then the other thing that I wanted to show along the same line is that we also have, let me see if I can do this easily, the pre-launch page for, for the Crime Busters number 7 is also now live. So, again, this is not going to be, Crime Busters 7 is not going to be live until after Quest 4 has also come out. So the plan is Geek Love #1, and then either in August or at the end of September, it'll be the campaign for quest #4, and then in either October or November, depending on how it shakes out, we'll have the Crime Busters #7 campaign. So that's sort of the roadmap for the rest of the year. But the pre-launch pages are now live for both Crime Buster 7 and Quest #4. So if you are reading those titles, you can sign up now to make sure you don't miss either of those. But that's just sort of filling you in on everything that's going on here. We still have 5 minutes left to talk here about Geek Love, and before we take a break. Again, this campaign's going to be running through the evening of Friday, July 26th. I'll be doing another live stream to count down the last hour of the campaign. We're close to 40% funded now, or about 38%, which is, again, a great first day. So hopefully we'll be able to keep the ball rolling and get the campaign funded in the next couple of weeks. Anybody have any questions about anything? Any questions about romance comics, about Geek Love, about Quest or Crime Busters, Cthulhu versus Uncle Sam, or anything else? Now's a great time to ask. I'm just going to get another drink real quick. It's possible. We'll see how the campaign goes, but it's possible that at some point, if the spirit moves me, I may actually add another variant cover that's only available as an add-on. Still thinking about it, but I do love doing the variant covers. It's just a lot of fun for me. I like giving people different options so they can pick whichever cover they speaks to them. I like doing that. And the one thing I really want to do since Black Cat is we have a character is cosplaying as a Black Cat. This is really nerdy, but that's the whole point, is that with her original series, it started off as a superhero series just called Black Cat, and then it changed to a horror comic called Black Cat Mystery. And then it changed to a Western, and it was called Black Cat Mystery Western. And so now that I'm doing a romance comic with the Black Cat in it, I want to change the title again. So it says Black Cat Mystery Western Romance. Or Black Cat Western Mystery Romance, I suppose. So I'm thinking about doing a variant cover that is, again, that picks up the numbering from Black Cat. So I think it would be issue 65, might be 66. I'm not sure, one or the other. But with that, and then I'm trying to come up with a cover that incorporates all those things. So it's the Black Cat in her superhero costume, but you get Western romance and horror all in the one image. So I've got some ideas for it. Again, I don't know if I'm going to do it or not. It might be one of those variant covers that I do once in a while. I'll do one that's just for myself, and it turns out that actually it is just for myself and nobody else wants it. But I think it'll be fun, and I'm hoping that some of the people that are into the public domain Golden Age characters will appreciate what I'm doing with the characters in this story, because I think it's a fun way to use these great characters from the past. So we'll see. I might do that, and then also the other thing that I might add as an add-on is the other anniversary covers. So if you're going to be getting the Stu anniversary cover, if you want to catch up on the other ones that have already come out, which is Crimebuster 6 and Quest 3, those anniversary covers are already out. So if you want to catch up so you can collect the whole set of the anniversary covers, I may add those two as add-ons so you can get all of them. But that's it. So we've reached the end of the hour. I'm just going to refresh one last time here, and yeah, we're at 586, 28 backers. Thank you all so much for your support. Thank you for watching and talking to me as I've been going over all this stuff. I really appreciate it, and hopefully I'll see you all on the 26th, and we'll be able to celebrate this getting funded. But for now, I'm gonna wrap it up here and call it an evening. So thank you all again, and talk to you next time.